So the time has come to predict Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree.
Yes, sir.
I am super excited for this fight. I know Alex Pereira is a 4.5 to 1 favorite. Khalil Rountree is not a guy that's currently sitting in the top 5. A lot of people thought that he wasn't deserving of this title fight, but that's a discussion for another day. We will see what happens after Saturday. But stylistically, I love this matchup. I don't think there's going to be any groundwork. If you're a striking fan and you like strikers that beat you up like you owe them money, which is what a lot of people say about Khalil Rountree, well, you've got the two right guys in there for that.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, it certainly seems like Pereira has the massive advantage here. When you think about the list of names that he's fought since he's become a UFC champion, I know Khalil Rountree has been in the UFC a lot longer than Alex Pereira, but for Alex, this is maybe the lightest on the scale as far as rankings are concerned and star power is concerned of opponents that he's fought in quite some time.
Yeah.
You know, Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland, Jamal Hill. The guy is just putting a list together of former champions that is quite impressive.
Yeah.
And Khalil is a guy who's been around the block a time or two, but never reached the top echelons. Now, Khalil has spent a lot of time in Thailand refining his game, and he's a completely different fighter than he was when he came into the UFC.
Right.
How do you see technically the path for Khalil being, and then I want you to kind of give me that same answer for the path that Pereira needs to take. I think we all know that Pereira just needs to land a few of those patented left hooks, maybe a switch kick like we saw against Yuri in his last fight. He's devastating. He's always dangerous, and he can always finish you. What are your thoughts from the technical perspective?
Yeah, well, when you look at Alex Pereira, if you're preparing to fight him, you have to assume that you're going to have a disadvantage on the feet, so try to take this fight to the ground. Well, we've seen people do that and not have a ton of success. He's very good at keeping the fight on the feet. Khalil Rountree is also a very complete striker. He's not going to take you down, so this fight is going to be a strike fest for as long as it lasts, and I'm predicting KO for sure. Who's getting the prediction will come in just a little bit, but this is going to be a KO. But I do think the pace is going to be fought at one that's favorable for Alex Pereira early on, and that's because both guys are calculated strikers. Khalil fights you like he wants to hurt you, but he only does that in the right moments. He doesn't just come at you crazy, which is another tactic that some camps might look at as an option for Pereira. Go out there and just bum rush him and try to get really make it ugly. If you go out there and try to strike with Pereira, you're not going to have any success, so try to get ugly. I don't think Khalil's going to do that. I think Khalil believes in his skills, and he thinks that he can match what Pereira can do on the feet. And I'm interested in seeing that battle take place because I think Khalil's going to have a speed advantage. I think the fact that he's a different frame body than what Pereira has fought since he's been in the UFC lately. Think about, Israel Adesanya. He's a tall, long guy. Jamal Hill, similar build, very long. Khalil is going to have the height disadvantage, but sometimes that can make your opponent a little bit more difficult to hit, and that gives them the speed advantage if they're a lighter person. In Rountree's case, he is. So I do think there's some variables that make this fight more interesting. Not enough to sway my prediction in Rountree's favor. I know he's an underdog and a kind of a sizable one. I think it's for good reason, though. Pereira, he brings a moment. He's not just a fighter. He's this guy who brings an entire moment. And whether you're in the fight world or you just watch it casually, when he's fighting, in just a short amount of time, he's been able to capture people's attention totally. And now he's one of our favorite fighters in the sport, maybe in the sport's history for some people. So I think that when you're fighting Pereira, you're not just fighting one of the most lethal strikers in the world. You're also fighting the moment, the huge moment that of him walking out and doing the famous crossbow thing at you. Like, there's a lot behind what comes with fighting Pereira. I don't think Rountree is going to be more phased than anybody else, but I would be a fool to say that these guys aren't phased a little bit in the build up in fighting a guy like Alex Pereira after what he's done in such a short amount of time in the UFC. So I say all that to give my prediction. I think it's going to be a slow, calculated fight at the beginning. We're going to see some cool striking exchanges and a lot of maybe feinting and acknowledgement going on between two guys without a ton of action at moments, but then it's going to pick up, of course, and I think Alex Pereira gets it done probably by TKO somehow. I'm going to go fourth round.
Fourth round. Interesting. And I do think Khalil Rountree can win this fight.
Yeah.
I do think it's a narrow path. As you said, Khalil Rountree probably will have the speed advantage. He probably will certainly have the strength advantage.
Yeah.
Although I don't know that he'll have the power advantage. I mean, Alex Pereira, he's not the fastest striker. When you think of like lightning fast strikers, a Rafael Fiziev, somebody like that, that's not the way Pereira fights.
Right.
He's a little bit more methodical. He sets his shots up very well. He utilizes things to get reads on you, to dictate exactly what he wants out of his opponent, and then he capitalizes on the moments. And when he lands those big shots, we all know, we've all seen what happens, and it's curtains for his opponent.
Right.
Sean Strickland, who's now a friend and training partner of his, and Sean's a durable guy, said like, this guy just has the touch of death.
Yeah.
There's just a few people that have that. Mike Tyson when he was in his prime, Alex Pereira, these types of people, Deontay Wilder, Francis Ngannou, they just have otherworldly type of power. And
Right.
of those people I just mentioned, Pereira is perhaps the most technical of all of those people, in addition to having that power, which
Yeah.
is what makes him really a true weapon inside of that cage. I don't think that Salt Lake City is going to play a factor in this fight, because I do agree with you that it's going to be a little bit slower of a pace. And if anything, I think it favors Pereira, because I think it's going to be a little bit more bursty out of Khalil. And so, he may start to gas. Also, we know Khalil carries a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
When you're at elevation like that and you're fighting in bursts and you're trying to push the pace, you tend to get tired faster than the guy that's feinting and making you move. That doesn't require nearly as much energy.
Right.
I think that it's going to be a very even first round. I think both guys are going to have some moments where, if you're a fan of either, you're going to be on the edge of your seat and like, whoa, oh man, I didn't, if that had landed, it could have been bad.
Right.
Just be that type of thing. But I'm going Alex Pereira TKO in the second round.
Early.
I think the first round, he kind of feels Khalil out, gets some reads on him, and then, probably edges out the round. Khalil looks to pick up the pace in the second round and comes at him with a little bit more intensity. And that's where we know Alex finds those moments, whether it's a hook, whether it's a switch kick, as we saw against Yuri, whether it's a straight punch. Alex, don't sleep on Alex's straight either.
No.
Everybody talks about the hook because he puts so many people down with it, but Alex Pereira has a great straight down the pipe as well.
And that usually assists the hook.
Exactly. That's usually, if the hook doesn't finish you off, the straight's coming right behind it. So I'm going Alex Pereira. You're 100% right about the moment. Alex Pereira brings a moment to this sport, and very few people have we ever seen in the UFC's history emerge to superstardom that don't speak English. Now, I know this is a global sport, more so now than it has ever been, but traditionally, if you want to be a mega star, a Conor McGregor, somebody like that, a Nate Diaz, you need Jorge Masvidal, you need to speak English.
Yeah.
Alex Pereira has turned that on its head. He is absolutely the sport's biggest star right now, in my opinion. And with these knockout wins, he's only going to continue to get bigger and bigger. I think Alex Pereira is primed for this. I think he's going to go out there and he's going to knock Khalil Rountree out in the second round. I say he does it with his hands. I'm going to call a straight punch. I don't think it's going to be a hook this time. I think he's going to show us something a little bit differently.
It's going to be pretty interesting. Either way, it's going to be a lot of fun, and the people in Salt Lake City are in for a good UFC card. I don't think they have to worry about a Paulo Costa, Luke Rockhold type situation where both guys were gassed 2 minutes into the first round. These guys, like exactly what we're calling the moment. The kids these days, they're calling it the aura.
Yeah.
Chama has the aura. So I can't wait to see, the Salt Lake City fans really enjoy this one. But yeah, all in all, I think Pereira is going to get this job done because of his technical skills. Rountree's a formidable opponent, but yeah, I just think it's going to be one for the champ again.
Agreed. That's 2 for Pereira, guys. Drop your prediction in the comments below. Let us know, is anybody out there taking Khalil Rountree? We'll see you next time.
Peace.